Figure it out.
Hello, this is Adam Koralik with Figure It Out Productions. The following video is part of our Quick Shoot series. Hey guys, I just received this package. I made a trade with a guy named Morgan down in Louisiana. I'm sending him this Sega Genesis and a few games, and in exchange he sent me some stuff in this rather interesting box. This was kind of awkward to haul around in my building. But yeah, anyway, so I've already sliced it open, but I haven't looked inside, so here we go. First, we have a lot of plastic bags. Looks like one's from Walmart. Almost looks like our trade was for lots of plastic bags. Thanks for all the extra plastic bags, Morgan. Alright. And some newspaper, obviously filler. Okay, first thing he sent me here was an NES with a controller and Double Dragon 2. We'll take a look at that soon. And he sent me a GameCube, the Platinum version with the controller, power supply. Now in both cases, I already have actually two GameCubes and I have an NES. But I made a video where I got this Genesis and a bunch of other Sega stuff, and I said, I kind of wished I had more Nintendo stuff as, backups. And, well, he was willing to comply. He really wanted a Genesis, and I wanted these, so we came to a nice little deal here. Okay, I've got everything out of the box now. He also threw in a few chocolate things. Thanks, Morgan. So Double Dragon looks to be in alright shape. He really just threw this in as a bonus. I only have a few NES games, and I didn't have this one, so it was nice to get another game. The NES, it looks like it's in alright shape. It's got some scuffs on the front. I am having a little bit of a problem getting... I can't get that to close. I'll have to fix that when I open it up. Controller looks okay. GameCube's got some scuffs on it. But it looks like it's alright. Unfortunately, we realized this all too late. This is a later version of the GameCube that only has the AV port. If you compare it to, this is a GameCube I already have, a GameCube that has this extra port. This is for the component cables so that you can get 480p video signal. Unfortunately, this one doesn't have that, and we didn't know that. I didn't know Nintendo removed this until it was too late, and he didn't know either. So this GameCube, frankly, isn't of much use to me. I'll clean it up and, I'll have it. Maybe I'll give it to my girlfriend or something, because I don't really have any use for a GameCube that can't support component. But we'll, I don't know, I'll figure something out. And the controller looks like it's in alright shape. No real problems there. So I'm going to go ahead, open these up, clean them all out, and then test them. What I want to do is I want to clean it up. I want to get rid of this scar-looking thing across it. For that, I'm going to go inside and I'm going to spray around compressed air. I'm also going to clean up the 72-pin connector. I'm also going to fix this problem, how this thing won't stay down. That's a real problem. But it's the easiest problem to fix. If you have a standard Phillips screwdriver, this is all you will need to fix this problem. And it won't even involve opening up your system. So what you're going to do, you go on the bottom, you see all the screw ports there. There's 6 of them in total. The one you want to find is this one right here, the one right next to the right of the boards, the controller boards. And you're going to go in there, and you're going to obviously just turn it a little bit, just a little, maybe like a full rotation, maybe 1.5 rotations. And all that will do is lighten the pressure on this thing, and then there you go. It'll stick almost every single time. How easy is that? That is the easiest fix ever. So yeah, do that, and that will fix that problem. However, I'm going to have to do that again, because like I said, I'm going to open this thing up, and I'm going to clean it out. I've taken the lid off of the NES, and there's supposed to be 6 screws, but there's only 5, so clearly someone opened this thing at some point and took out one of the screws and then lost it or something. Not that that's any real big deal. Also, I'm noticing, if I look at this, I see back here, one of the screws from the RF shield is missing. Again, not a big deal. The rest of them are there and it holds together, so that's not really a problem. But what you're going to want to do at this point is take off the RF shield. So that's what I'm going to do. So once you have all the screws out of the RF shield, you're just going to want to take that off. And then you will see the cartridge slot. And you'll see the infamous 72-pin connector. So what I'm going to do, actually, is take off the cartridge slot thing here, and that has a couple of screws on the side, total of 6. Now there's one thing that you should know about these screws. The ones on the bottom, the ones that you used on the RF shield and the ones on the side are all the same length except for this silver one here on the right, and there's another one of the same length right here on this side. Make sure you remember that those two are different from all the others. But other than that, you should be fine. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Alright, so once you have the screws off, you're just going to want to take out the cartridge slot here, which I'm going to have to do without holding the camera. But you can hear it, I guess. And just go ahead and you kind of lift onto the 72-pin connector. Make sure it's not caught on anything. And there we go. Comes right out. Yeah. Alright, and then what you're left with down here is the board. Now, what I'm going to do, like I said, I'm going to blow around compressed air because I can see like hair and dust and all sorts of things. I'm going to rinse that up, rinse up the lid there, clean that up a little bit. I'm also going to clean out the 72-pin connector, so I'll show you that right now. So I cleaned this up. I just used Windex and like paper towels and Q-tips, and it cleans up very nicely. Looks good. So now onto this part of the system. So what we're going to want to do is get this 72-pin connector off, and we're going to want to take the motherboard out so that we can clean the plastic. So easiest way I find to do this is to take your fingers over here by the composite, or yeah, where the composite signal is. This is provided all the screws are removed already, by the way. So you just lift up on that, you pull up on the 72-pin connector a little bit, and as you can see the board just kind of lifts right up, which is nice. So what you're going to want to do once you're there is you're going to want to clean up all the plastic with like compressed air, and if you really want to get detailed you can go in with like Q-tips. I don't know if the camera can kind of pick that up. It looks like there's some dust there. You can pick up, you can use Q-tips and Windex and paper towels and just kind of really get that nice and clean. So I went ahead and I wiped it down. It was actually not too bad. Got some dust out of there, which is always good. I recommend doing that. Now we're going to go for the 72-pin connector. So I've turned the board upside down. I find this is the easiest way to do this. And you're going to want to try to just lift off this part of the shielding, which is not the easiest thing to do. So I may have to put down the camera for this. Put it there. I hope, honestly, I don't know how much that's going to pick up, but you know, I'll give it a shot. I try not to disconnect these cables just because it's so much harder to get those back in than you'd think. So yeah, we kind of have it lifted off there. There's the brain of an NES. Okay, so now that we have that, we can get to the 72-pin connector, which is this part. And this part will actually just kind of, it's just attached like a cartridge. So what you're going to want to do is kind of, I don't know how well you can see that. I hope it's decent. Just kind of slide it off. Little bit by little bit. Not the easiest thing to do, unfortunately. Wow, that's on tight. There we go. Okay, so it's off now. I'm going to put that down for a little bit. Just put that back in the NES. Yeah. So here's our 72-pin connector. So what I'm going to do is just kind of clean it up with you know, Windex and use some cartridge cleaners. Fortunately, it looks like the pins aren't too pushed down, so I won't need to do the 72-pin lift-up trick. So that's really good news. Awesome, because I really didn't want to do that. But anyway, yeah, I'll go ahead and I'll clean this up. So I've got out a cartridge cleaning kit. These are pretty old school. Bought from Funko-Land, which doesn't even exist anymore. But yeah, that became GameStop eventually, and it's back before GameStop sucked. But anyway, this is for cartridge cleaning. It comes with these little things that are of all various sizes. I believe this one was actually designed for the Super Nintendo, but it'll work. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to put some Windex on each side of this, and then just kind of clean out the pins a little bit. You can alternatively, if you don't have the cartridge cleaning kit, which I'm betting most of you don't, you can do what's called the credit card method, where you take a credit card and you wrap it in like felt cloth, and then felt cloth you kind of clean with Windex or whatever, and then you kind of just do the same exact thing. Make sure once you do it that you dry it off and then do it again to kind of get some of the excess moisture out of there. But that should clean up all those contacts so that they work a lot better. So I went ahead and did that, and it's, well, I can't really tell if it's any cleaner, but I'm assuming it is. So what I'm also going to want to do is clean this contact board where the 72-pin connector was, and that should help with the connection as well. So for this, I'm just going to do what I would do with a cartridge, which is I take a Q-tip, spray it with Windex, and then rub along the contacts like that. And then I'm going to go ahead and, after I clean this one side, I'll take the wet side and do it on the bottom of the cartridge slot, and then, or this thing, and then I'll use the dry end to dry it all off. And then I'll show it to you in a moment. Alright, see, there's the wet end after I've cleaned it, and there's the dry end. As you can see, there's a lot of crap on there, so I gotta believe with all this crap off, it's gonna work a lot better. Okay, so I put the 72-pin connector back on, and I put the board back in its place. So now I'm going to put in this. Alright, I got it back together, minus the top, of course. So I took the lid, and I took a sponge, and I just covered it in like Windex, and I just scrubbed really hard, and as you can see, that long thing on the front is gone. There's also some other little cosmetic dirt that on the thing that I managed to clean off on the inside and on the outside, so now the top looks really good. I wanted to give you guys another reminder. Remember what I said about this thing, you know, if it's too tight, then this won't work. That also goes for the screw on the right here and right there. If those are too tight, you'll have that same problem where it just can't seal. So make sure those are a little bit, you know, not super tight in there. Test it first, and then it should be all good. So now I'm going to go ahead and put the top on, and remember to not keep this screw too tight either. Alright, so I've got the NES all back together. Looks nice and clean. It's very good, actually. Cleaned up very well. And I'm going to take this cartridge of Double Dragon 2, and I'm going to go ahead and clean the contacts. That's really important, okay? To anyone who goes, well, I don't want to clean it, I'm lazy. You suck. You need to clean these things. That's really, really important. And I don't mean, I blew in a cartridge, yay! That's not cleaning it. That actually does a lot more damage than you think. But I'm going to show you how to properly do that real quick. Okay, so to clean these things, you just want to take a Q-tip, spray some Windex on it, and rub it back and forth on the contacts. I've actually already done this a few times with this cartridge. This one is filthy. It's disgusting. This all came from this cartridge, and it's still not done. I'll prove it to you. Go ahead and do this again real quick on one side of the contacts. Yuck. Look at that. That's just awful. So we got to keep doing that until we stop getting dirt on these things. And then once you're going to, once you're done, once you stop getting dirt, you're going to take the dry side and dry off all the contacts, and then you should be good to go. I'm going to keep doing that, though. I've got the NES controller here. I took out all of its screws. You can see them right there. And this thing is actually kind of tough to get apart because there was all sorts of soda or something that's all stuck in there. It's just kind of gross. So I'm going to go ahead and clean this all up. First I got to take the board out, which is not supposed to stick that much, but it is. Unwind this little cable back here. There we go. And it'll have less resistance. Yeah, it's really not supposed to stick that much. I've had NES controllers in the past and none of them have ever done that. Wow. Okay, I'm going to take this apart with the camera off. I've got the NES controller apart. As you can see, filthy. That's why this thing was sticking so bad. All the little parts are sticky and nasty. Yuck. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to go clean all this stuff. For the plastic parts, you just want to use like, you know, soap and water and Windex or whatever. With the board, you're going to want to be a little bit more careful. Obviously, you don't want to use water. I've recommend Q-tips and Windex on the contact points if you need to clean the board. But ironically, as disgusting as parts of this controller have been, the actual board seems to be okay. So I don't think I'm actually going to clean it. But the controller, the plastic bits are disgusting, so I'm going to clean those. Okay, so I've cleaned all the plastic. The plastic looks pretty good. Remember that all the plastic you can obviously wash with soap and water and get it really nice and clean. Just do not put it back together with the board until it's 100% dry. And I mean 100%, because if any of this moisture sticks around and it gets in the board, well, then you're going to completely break the controller. So make sure it's totally clean and totally dry. I've got the NES all hooked up. It's all nice and clean. All these things are clean. I've decided not to disable the 10 NES chip yet. I will do that at a future date. In case you're curious, the 10 NES chip is a security chip Nintendo put into this thing to prevent it from playing pirated cartridges, but it also has the ironic effect of blocking out regular cartridges now that the system is aging. So it's a good idea to disable it, but I'm not going to do that right now. So, here we go. First time ever. At least, well, in my possession. So with the NES, from my other NES, I'll tell you that the putting it in on the sides like that with your thumbs is the best way to connect, but I can't really do that because I'm holding the camera, so I'm just going to do it in the center. And we put it down. See, it locks down. Nice. And here we go. Alright. Yeah, it works. Controller, can't really play it this way, but yeah, buttons all work. Yeah, pause works, everything works. Alright, awesome. Yeah, Double Dragon 2, totally working. So there we go, that's the NES. It's all set. Now it's time to move on to the GameCube.